Hey gang, Randy here from Break and Run Billiards. Today we are actually going to talk about the stroke. And I know some of you are going, oh geez, why is everybody talking about the stroke? I've got the stroke, I know. Now, we're going to hit on some stuff that nobody talks about. And some things that might help you to actually settle this into your subconscious a little bit more and make it more consistent. And that's what the whole point of this. In our quest for consistency, we want to have the same exact stroke every time. So we take our pool stick. First thing we do, we pick out where we're going to shoot at it. And just for our sake today, we're picking that diamond on the far end of the table. So first thing I do, getting ready for my stroke, is I get back, and how far back do you stand from? Just as far as you need. I know people that have stood almost a whole table length away from it to get the line that they want to shoot at. You have to mentally be able to see this line going through your stick, through the cue ball, through the point that you want to hit on the object ball. And you got to get this line. And so we get into our stance. We've already predetermined that. So we're in our stance, and we come down on this ball. All right, we are aiming. Okay, what I want to talk about briefly is when we look at this object ball, it takes a period of time for what we see in our eyes to actually register in that subconscious part of our mind. And there was a study done at the University of Miami that said that it's about 2 seconds from when we actually find the point we want to hit to where our subconscious mind says, hey, that's it, go for it. So when we look at this ball, and granted these numbers might be different for everybody, and this is a hard concept for some people, but if I look at this, I find the spot, I've already aimed it, I find the spot on my cue that I want to hit. And I say to myself, or if you're in practice, say it out loud, because audio reinforcement actually helps you get this into your subconscious. When I look at this, I find the spot I'm going to hit, and I think 1001, 1002. Then I look at the spot I want to hit on the object ball, and I focus on that 1001, 1002. Let that get into my subconscious. Now I come back here, I look at the cue ball, make sure I'm lined up 1001, 1002. Then take my practice strokes, and it could be 1, it could be 3, it could be 5. It doesn't really matter. And when I'm comfortable, I stop and I say set. That means I'm ready to go. I've done my practice strokes. I am all lined up. I'm ready to pull the trigger. Set. 1001, 1002. I come back and I pause. Now, how long do you pause? As long as we're using 2 seconds, I say 2 seconds. A lot of people come back and then they come straight through the ball. Their idea is that if they do this quick motion, that it'll stay in the same line. That's not really true. Again, we've got two muscles, ones that pull the arm back and one that pushes it forward, tricep and bicep. We need to give the muscles a time to exchange information. So we pull back and we pause. 1 second, 2 seconds. I say 2 seconds just because everything else is 2 seconds. Then we come through the ball and freeze. Now when we freeze, we're doing two things. we can look at this cue stick, and if it's going right over the spot that we are shooting over, we know we hit it straight. But also, by leaving the cue stick out here, we have forced ourselves to follow through. So we want that. We want to follow through. When we get into using English and backspin and stuff, we want to follow through. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. So, our stroke, we line it up. We step into it. We get down on the ball. We already have our aim point, so we're looking at the object ball. I'm going to hit the center ball, 1001, 1002. Look at the object ball, where I want it to strike it, 1001, 1002. Back to the cue ball, 1001, 1002. Practice strokes. I'm done, set. Come back, pause. Freeze. And then I can look here, and I have my checks and balances here and see if I hit this right. So that is the SPF stroke. Now what I do, when you do this, put a ball on the foot spot. And we did this earlier where we hit this ball at that center diamond and came back and hit the tip of the stick. We're still going to do this, but now we have our stroke all in line. And this is where we want to start getting stuff more in our subconscious. So we're going to hit this ball and then hit the tip of the stick. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a ball on there. We're going to put the cue ball one diamond behind it. And then we're going to hit that, and we're going to hit it kind of as a stop shot, which basically means you hit this just a little bit below center. But this cue ball should stop right here, maybe roll just a little bit forward. That ball is going to roll down here and come back and hit this ball. That's a progressive drill. After we can hit the tip several times, then we're going to do this and make it progressive. Now the thing that we have to discuss is when we do drills like this, we really don't want to do more than 10, at the most 15 shots. Because we're training our subconscious. We're training our subconscious on how to do the stroke, but we also need positive reinforcement. So when you're practicing the stroke, the first thing, we're going to do this shot to make sure we're hitting center ball. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to shoot off of this spot, and we are going to shoot at a corner pocket. And we are going to shoot 7 times at pocket speed, and then we're going to change it to medium speed, and then we're going to change it to high speed. Then we're going to do 7 shots, however you want. You aim it, you get it all set up, and you close your eyes and you shoot it. So we're talking 28 shots, but they're all going to be different in ways that, so we're testing 3 different things. We're testing our grip, we're testing our speed, we're testing our stroke, and we're learning to trust our subconscious by closing our eyes. When I had people come up to me during a match and they'll say, I'm missing this shot to the right every single time. And I'm saying, why? And they said, I don't know, I can't figure it out. I says, I tell you what, you aim that shot, get set up, and they do everything, and I say, okay, now close your eyes and stroke it. They stroke it and it goes in almost every time. And they go, what's the difference? What did I do? I said, you weren't letting all of this other stuff out here get into your mind. You were playing from your conscious mind. By closing your eyes, I made you play in your subconscious mind, and it knew what to do all along. You just weren't listening to it. So that's what we need to do. We want to reinforce this stuff in our subconscious mind. Now, the reason we only do 7, 10, 15 shots is Because if we get bored, then we're just doing them to get them over with, and we're not paying attention to the fundamentals. Or if we are for some reason not getting into that subconscious thing and we're missing a lot, we don't want to reinforce bad shooting. So we stop and we go do something else, and then we come back to it. But we want to reinforce good shooting. We want to not reinforce bad shooting. So that's what we're doing. So I think that's about enough for this video. We've gone through the stroke. You've learned the PBIA SPF method. We've talked about a couple drills that keep you shooting center ball, and we've talked about a little bit about the mental game of pool. So work on that a little bit. The next couple videos we are going to start talking a little bit more about the cue ball and how to move stuff around, but mostly I want to talk about some rules that we have to know about pool. We're going to talk about the tangent line, the 30-degree rule, talk a little bit about backspin and forward spin, and how this is going to affect your game. So until next time, this is Randy from Breaking Run Billiards. We'll